Alright, guys, so I watched Project Hail Mary. This is a movie that I am very late to, but I want to talk about it anyways, so indulge me. So I will appease the book readers in the first bit of this video because, according to them, the trailer shows too much. I feel like I don't really agree, but I guess I will refrain from showing the part of the trailer that they felt people shouldn't see before watching the movie. So, as you can see here in this trailer footage, uh, Ryan Gosling plays a person who gets sent up into space in order to try to save the planet. Humanity discovers that there is something there's like a disease amongst all, I believe it's all the suns in the galaxy, and there's one that isn't dying, and Ryan Gosling has to go and figure out what's going on with that sun. Ryan, find out for us. And yeah, that's the basic setup of the story that I think book readers are okay with people knowing. Now, I will say the trailer does go on to show sort of something else that happens in the movie, and I can understand why book readers find it annoying that the trailers revealed that, but after watching the movie, that's just the plot of the movie. It's fine. I'll respect their wishes or whatever, and I won't bring it up here in this first initial bit. But I don't think that having seen the trailer and knowing what happens, and even seeing what happens, I don't know that that really takes away from anything when you watch the movie. It's not like big third act, twists and turns are revealed in the trailers. It's just, hey, this is what this movie is about. So yeah, if you haven't seen any of the trailers, then sure, it is a cool experience to walk into Project Hail Mary not having seen anything, right? As a virgin baby boy. But I also think you're totally fine if you have seen the trailers. Uh, anyways, this movie is incredible. It is the definition of a four quadrant movie. Like, this is a movie that I think literally anybody could walk into and enjoy. And if you don't like this movie, maybe if you don't love it, that's fine. But if you're just like, there's nothing here for me, I hate it, yada yada yada, I do think that there's something wrong with you. I mean, don't get me wrong, all art is subjective, but also if you don't like this movie, there's something off in your mind. Ryan Gosling really proves here that he just is one of the most likable and reliable actors in Hollywood. Um, like, obviously he's been doing a lot of interesting stuff lately, like, Barbie and The Fall Guy, but I really do think that him essentially just being alone on a space station is one of the most challenging roles of his career, and I think he absolutely excels here. Uh, Also, kind of similar, I guess, now that I think about it, to Iron Lunge, that Markiplier movie, and it really just goes to show that if you're gonna do a movie like this, where it's an actor in an isolated area, basically by himself for a large part or the entirety of a movie, you need a more talented guy in there, and I do think that Ryan Gosling is that. Um, I will say the other thing about this movie is that the science isn't too overbearing. I think they do a really, honestly, a perfect balance. Whereas I feel like, something like a Nolan movie, whenever they have their heady scientific concepts, I'll be honest, oftentimes I'm watching those movies and I'm just like, I don't even really know what's happening. I definitely felt that way during Tenet. I also think I felt a little bit like that during Interstellar, although I don't know, it's been a minute since I've seen that movie. I basically understood, like, I'm a big old dummy dum dum head. I basically understood everything that was going on in Project Hail Mary. I think they do a really good job of making it heady enough that I think that if you are super big into science or science fiction, I think you will find the concept interesting, and I think you'll find the science interesting. But if you're someone like me who isn't as interested in that stuff and doesn't really understand all that stuff, you're not going to be lost when, Ryan Gosling is going on some monologue about star bits or whatever. That should show you how intelligent I am. I tried to think of a scientific concept and I brought up the little thing that you feed the Lumas in Super Mario Galaxy. So there I am. That's where I'm at intellectually. But okay, now I'm going to do the thing that the that the people who read the books were mad at the trailer. I'm going to talk about some of the other stuff in the movie that was revealed in the trailer, so I still wouldn't consider it a spoiler, but if you haven't seen any of the marketing, then sure, go watch just watch the movie, don't look anything up and you'll have a good time. So yeah, the other big aspect of this movie is that Ryan Gosling's character ends up coming across an alien spacecraft. And that's really what ends up becoming the heart of the movie. It is Ryan Gosling's relationship with this alien creature. And I think it ends up working really well. Like it there is some logical leaps in their relationship. Like it tries to play two worlds here, right? Where it tries to treat it like super realistically, where it's like, okay, two completely different species from two different planets are meeting up. One of them is developed this way, the other species is developed this way. How do they even interact? Right? Because they can't be in each other's atmospheres and stuff like that. Then it gets into, okay, well, how do they even communicate? Like, how do they even approach communicating? And that would be theoretically a very long and arduous process. And they kind of get into a little bit of the science of that and how that would realistically play out, but it does it just enough to where it's an interesting dynamic that you're seeing play out. But then, understandably so, they then kind of just like speed through some of it to the point that they end up communicating well together, and it is a little jarring, but I also totally understand that you can't have an entire movie of them just figuring out how do they communicate with one another. And yeah, the relationship between Ryan Gosling and the alien creature is absolutely phenomenal. I think that the movie ends up becoming this like movie, this little relationship movie between these two characters, and their dynamic is absolutely amazing. Apparently, there is like very minimal VFX with the alien in this movie, which, well, because when I was watching it, I was like, this is really incredible CGI. That's what I was thinking in my head. But apparently, the vast majority of it is like puppeteering, which I think is super impressive. I think there has been an over reliance on CGI, and I think that normally Hollywood would have taken this concept and gone, yeah, let's just CGI the thing. And I really appreciate that Lord and Miller, who directed this movie, that they were like, no, if we can do it practically, why wouldn't we? And yeah, it works really well here. And yeah, that's kind of where I want to leave it. I feel like if you get too much deeper into the movie, you do actually end up spoiling the movie. And this is just like one of the best movies that you're going to watch in a movie theater all year. Not just because of the visual spectacle of it all, because it is a beautiful looking movie. It's, people often can complain about, visuals in Hollywood movies nowadays. And I do think it's a valid complaint, but this is absolutely an exception to that rule. It's a movie that you should see in the movie theaters. I would say see it in IMAX, but I can't judge it from that perspective because I don't even have an IMAX theater near me. Um, but it's also like again, the relationship between Ryan Gosling and this little alien creature. It is going to be one of the most endearing relationships also that you're going to see in a movie theater all year. Like, I don't know how far this movie is going to get in the Oscar race, and obviously there's still a bunch of movies that we have to see before, the Oscars 2027. But it's like, if there is like a big budget uh mainstream, genre movie that should be nominated for Oscars, it is this one. Like, this is a leagues better than, F1, which was like the pity nomination that they gave to a big blockbuster movie last year. It's like, I do think that this movie will end up competing. Um Although I guess Dune 3 is also probably going to be nominated next year. So the Academy Awards next year is going to be very interesting because I already feel like we're going to have two movies in Project Hail Mary and Dune 3 that are, popular movies, but also actually good. And yeah, I also kind of want to talk about Lord and Miller, where it's like I feel like they've kind of been in director jail, being stuck on the Spider Verse movies all these years. Okay, wait, what? This is actually crazy. So I'm looking it up here. Now, they've produced a bunch of stuff for sure, but as far as movies that they themselves have directed, if you don't know who they are, they directed Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, 21 Jump Street, the Lego movie, and 22 Jump Street. So by like 2014, after 22 Jump Street, I feel like they really solidified themselves as really good directors that can do comedy for adults and children, but also put in, inject a really endearing story. And then they just kind of stopped directing movies. Like they ended up producing a bunch of stuff, right? Like uh they produced other Lego movies. They almost directed that Solo movie. Like they were actually on set directing that Solo movie, and if you don't know, the Lucasfilm ended up kicking them off of that movie, which I mean, look, who knows what that movie was going to end up being like, but after their track record, that's like, do I trust Phil Lord and Chris Miller more than Kathleen Kennedy? Yeah. Frankly. But yeah, then these past few years they've basically been really stuck in with the Spider-Verse movies cuz they're like producers on it and they're writers on it on those movies, but they're not the directors. But from what I understand, they're like really heavily involved in producing it, and they're really heavily involved in the creative side of things. But even still, it's like now with Project Hail Mary, it's like they've finally stepped back into the directing chair, and this movie is also just an absolute statement of like, yeah, we haven't directed something in a long time, but we still can do it, and we can do more than just animation and raunchy comedy movies. Like we can step in and direct a $250 million live action Ryan Gosling movie, and it is going to be pr- probably the best genre movie of the year, especially at least for me because I don't really care about Dune. Like it is going to be the best genre, big budget genre movie of the year, and we can do that, and it's going to be fascinating to see where they go next because like they could Phil Lord and Chris Miller, I would imagine, can step into any franchise and they're gonna have like all the creative autonomy, right? Like maybe not Lucasfilm. Maybe they couldn't step back into Lucasfilm, but like if they want to do Marvel, Star, or DC, I assume they're gonna be able to do it, and they're basically gonna have their pick of doing whatever they want. I think if they wanted to do yeah, like anything, any other original movie that will probably be able to get it greenlit after Project Hail Mary. So super happy for them that they were able to come back with such a statement that is Project Hail Mary. So yeah, go watch it for sure. Am I late to it? Yes, but also who cares? Bye.